I knew it. That's all right. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much. That was funny. I could see they were just getting ready to go like that, so I kind of had to out them a little bit, right? So, I figure I'd take my jacket off, roll up my sleeves. I mean, I was telling our counselor, Lord Webster, Mayor Pete can do it.
Yeah.
I guess Mayor Tim can do it, right? Don't need the jacket. So this is the time of the year that we get to present the budget to the council and to the public. This is the budget message for 2019. So it is, we all know the date, April 23rd. I'm here to present you the fiscal year 2019 proposed municipal budget. It is a proposed total of $52.5 million. This year's budget reflects tough decisions made to maintain the character and level of service our residents, visitors, and business owners expect while managing tensions created by increasing costs, needed infrastructure, and improvements. With all that the town has accomplished in the last year and plans for the coming year, it must be noted that it comes amidst financial resources that are limited. As I indicated in January, going into this budget season, there was a clear trend towards the need for fiscal prudence. The loss of revenue in some areas and unavoidable increases in costs had to be offset by some reductions in spending, all while contemplating fair employee compensation in the midst of collective bargaining agreements. However, our business administrator and CFO have worked hard to contain costs where possible and maximize revenues where available, taking a long-range view of fiscal health so that one-time gimmicks are avoided. The result is a budget that is fiscally responsible without impacting services. Yes, it includes a modest increase in the property tax rate of 1.9%. However, this year's budget adds to 9 years of fiscal moderation that took advantage of increasing values and new revenue from redevelopment, keeping the municipal levy flat and the tax rate down. In fact, this year's municipal tax levy and tax rate are less than they were in 2010, which demonstrates the commitment of my administration to good stewardship of your tax dollars. Our sound financial practices also have had a positive impact on the town's debt. Since 2010, we have successfully paid down over $21 million in debt, reducing our total net debt by 46%. Our debt value to ratio is now an impressive 0.76%, a testament to the effect of good, consistent financial management. Being good stewards also means leveraging resources where possible. Our team of grant writers have worked tirelessly with us to earn $3.9 million in grants for the town over the last 3 years. That includes another grant that we all read about the other day from TD Bank to plant trees for Arbor Day this year at Pocahontas Park. This project dovetails with a partnership with Habitat for Humanity, who has graciously dedicated resources and volunteers to plant additional trees and install benches and gazebos to beautify this underappreciated asset. Thank you, Habitat for Humanity, for your generosity. One of the proudest achievements of my administration thus far is the preservation, what we have just heard, of 11 acres of open space adjacent to Loyola Retreat Center. This large tract of undisturbed forest can now be enjoyed by generations to come and enhances the neighboring Foots Pond Wood property. I want to thank the state of New Jersey, Morris County, the Trust for Public Land for partnering with the town on this most important project. And I especially like to thank the Friends of Foots Pond for their advocacy and passion. Thank you very much for what you guys have done for this land. I am also happy to share that the Trails construction project at Foots Pond, funded by the County Trails Grant, will be completed this year, allowing residents to traverse around the entire pond and enjoy the nature and wildlife that this park has to offer. You think that's a good thing? And for those who were out there that day that the county came down to look at whether they were going to help fund this project, I don't know who was there, but there was birds and hawks flying and egrets and whatever other kind of birds. It was almost like somebody came, opened up a bunch of cages and planted all these birds, and it was just an amazing experience for the county when they came and walked through there, and for myself to realize what an asset we were able to get for our community forever. You know, I mean, we all know that it was being eyed by developers and tracts for townhouses, and it's a great location. But I think that along with some of the other things that we've done over the last 10 years in preserving open space, this clearly, 11 acres is a huge, huge uplift for our community, and especially for the surrounding neighborhood. So thank you again for all the advocacy you did to make that happen. In addition, the Environmental Commission spent the last year getting expert engineering advice to determine the best course of action in restoration of the pond itself. Earlier this year, they shared with the council their recommendation that the pond be hydro-raked to restore water levels and improve the function and aesthetic appearance of the pond. The first phase of that project is underway, and we expect to see the fruits of this effort next year. In addition to our natural ponds and open space, the town continues to invest in our recreation facilities. Last year, we completed a resurfacing of the Caldwell Pool, the main pool at Burnham Park. In fact, the Burnham Park complex will open this year with a new playground, new ladders, and a diving board and new furniture. At Caldwell, in addition to the pool improvements, we are in the home stretch of an extensive rejuvenation project for the park, which includes new basketball courts, lighting, amphitheater seating, and a renovated field house. We expect this work to be completed just in time for the summer season. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Hillary Davis for all that she did to continue to push to make sure those improvements were made in her ward. And really, if you could get time, take a ride down there and see what is happening down at Caldwell Field off of Martin Luther King. It's completely changed the whole park. It's amazing what's taking place. Absolutely. 2018 was both very successful for Morristown, yet we had some challenges. Even though construction continues to be very active, revenues for the building permits were down slightly, following many consecutive years of growth. Nonetheless, the value of construction started in 2018 was over $87 million, an increase of over 45% from 2017, the highest level in 9 years. So while permit revenue is down slightly, it is clear that investment in Morristown continues to flourish. The ongoing construction activity is a testament to the town's redevelopment effort that began in earnest 10 years ago. As the economy began to rebound, redevelopment planning put Morristown in a position to take advantage of the upturn. The first phase of Epstein's redevelopment area, 40 Park, has been a rousing success and has since ushered in other redevelopment and encouraged private investment throughout the town. Evidence of that success is the completion of the Metropolitan Lofts at 11 D Hart Street. 55 units of residential that is almost fully leased. As the last component to the Epstein's redevelopment area, this award-winning project represents the completion of this redevelopment plan that shows the well-designed and executed redevelopment strategy work. In 2018, we also saw the opening of Madero 55, which continues the momentum for the first phase of Speedwell redevelopment area and joins Madero 44 and CVS in their successful completion. The town continues to work with the owners of the 2 other redevelopment parcels in that area to move their projects forward. In addition to Epstein's and Speedwell, several other development projects have been underway. The vertical project at 55 Market is under construction and will be completed early next year, and the adjacent Cambria Hotel project has begun demolition on their site. The residential project on Ann Street is making steady progress, and the mixed-use residential retail project at 190 South Street is moving in earnest for opening this fall. I am especially excited for the Beijing project at the train station, which exemplifies the town's status as a transit village. We look forward to the state's support on bringing this project to fruition. Through redevelopment, it is important in the life cycle of any municipality. We cannot consider redevelopment without recognizing the importance of preserving the valuable building stock that makes our historic town interesting and desirable. To that end, the Planning Division has been working with the Historic Preservation Committee on a demolition ordinance that is reasonable and fair to allow property owners to invest in their homes while preventing the rash removal of an irreplaceable structure without first undergoing careful consideration of all alternatives and ensuring that structures of historic significance are documented for posterity. That ordinance is before you this evening. I urge you thoughtful deliberation on this important topic. In addition to preservation, our planning division has been very busy on important policy areas. The biggest accomplishment, I think I saw Phil come in. He's in the back, Phil Aberson, from our planner from Topology, has been some of the key reasons we've had some of the great success we've had. We're fortunate that we have him, and we're not letting him go. We're going to sign him to a 20-year contract. Just kidding, Phil. The biggest accomplishment was the completion of the town's new form-based code adopted in June of last year. The new code puts Morristown on the cutting edge of planning policy and allows the town to encourage property investment that fits in the context of a neighborhood rather than just fitting into a generic box. Thank you, Phil, and his team for bringing this important document to life. Last year, the Planning Division also worked with our legal team to adopt an affordable housing policy and spending plan that reached a settlement with Fair Share Housing. This policy affirms our town's commitment to the inclusionary housing that has already seen the construction of 115 affordable housing units in Morristown in the last 10 years. The settlement further confirms that Morristown is in compliance with our affordable housing obligation and free from builders' remedy challenges, meaning no developer can bully us into building large development that doesn't fit in the vision for our community. The adopted spending plan also allows us to partner with the Morristown Housing Authority to help to renovate their units while fulfilling our rehab obligation. The Housing Authority's new director, Executive Director Keith Kennard, has brought a wealth of experience and energy to the agency, and I welcome the opportunity to further build on that vital relationship. In 2019, we also look forward to working with Atlantic Health Systems to develop a master plan for a healthcare innovation corridor on Madison Avenue. This plan will dovetail with our existing master plan and leverage AHS's status as a world-class healthcare organization. Skip the page, there wasn't a period at that, sorry about that. Organization to make Morristown a destination of healthcare investment. So that's a good time for me to take a break. So just quickly, when you're in local government, you pay attention to all the assets we have in town. And our hospital is clearly an asset. At one point, back when I was a councilman, and I think March Brady can attest to this, there wasn't a lot of cooperation from the hospital. Wasn't a lot of transparency. They have a new CEO, Brian and Trish, who's local, who's the president of Morristown Medical Center. And the relationship that has created with the town and I think the residents is very positive. And I think it shows that where Morristown is ranked in the country, and it shows where it's ranked, I think, #1 in New Jersey, and 28th in the country, I think. I hate to get that wrong, Kevin, so you'll have to research that. It's either 26 or 28 in the country. It's a world-class health organization. It's a world-class hospital. And I'd like now to just take a moment, it's a little emotional. So I'm wearing a tie that was given to me by Dorothy Holman, who is struggling, for as much time as she's left here on this planet. Other than my beautiful wife, who's been at my side for this whole journey, so has Dorothy, from day one. I wouldn't be here without her. So it's a little testament that I'm wearing this tie she got me for Christmas many years ago. So keep her in your thoughts and prayers as her time is coming to the time where she's going to go home to the Lord. And we're going to be there for her and her family for this trying time. Thank you for putting up with that. But it's important that I said that publicly, because I really wouldn't be here without people like my wife and like people like Dorothy Holman and many others who were crucial in my first running for office as a councilman, where I think I came in 7th. but Dorothy took the time to walk me door to door in areas that no one ever heard of me, or knew me, and didn't like me, and got my first understanding of how important it is to understand the diversity of our community, and how important it is to, if you're going to serve this community, is to recognize the diversity and be active in the diversity. And that's something she taught me, and I'm forever grateful. So anyway, Morristown is an incredible organization, and it is a destination of the healthcare investment that they've done to our community, so it's great. It's one of the major initiatives accomplished in 2018 was the creation of the Department of Public Safety. Now, I don't know who's met Michael Cochran yet, but we said last night at the housing meeting, the housing got Keith Kennard, and we got Michael Cochran. He is the first public safety director in the town of Morristown. He started with us in October. The department issued its first annual report showcasing increases in enforcement, the implementation of a CompStat, a performance management system for the police bureau, increased safety for pedestrians, bicyclists in our central business district by developing a bilingual educational campaign on safe bicycle operation. The department also launched a new Facebook page which delivers valuable information about safety and traffic from our police, fire, OEM. It just goes on and on. This year, the Police Bureau began the process towards accreditation. The Fire Bureau, our two chiefs are back there, Chief Darnell Richardson and Chief Robert Flanagan. They're also involved heavily in the OEM. I want to acknowledge them while they're sitting here of the exemplary work they both do, Chief Flanagan and Acting Chief Richardson. And for all the public safety staff, thank you for your commitment to the residents of Morristown. You clearly are what makes Morristown great. I don't know if you've ever had to call the fire or police, but their reaction time is spectacular, and they're always giving out to the community, and I wanted to publicly acknowledge both your departments and pass that on to your men and women. Last year marked the first year of the Director of Code Enforcement. Is Al here? Oh, he's on vacation. That's right, he's in Disney. Last year marked the first year of our Director of Code Enforcement. Since starting, Al has expanded the use of SDL, that's our interdepartmental database that is central repository for all information shared amongst many departments. He also worked with the Health Division to implement the online registrations for pet licensing this year, and when I'm ever late, boy, do they hound me when I'm late for my pet license. This year, we hope to expand those efforts to allow other permits and licenses. Thank you, Al, even though he's not here for all his efforts. The health and well-being of our youth is important to my administration, which is why tonight I am proposing an implementation of a licensing and regulation for all electronic cigarette retailers. The proposed ordinance places strict controls to limit the access of minors to e-cigarettes in our municipality. I want to thank the Health Division for their efforts on this important issue, and I believe they'll be giving a little presentation after Jillian does her budget. After much anticipation, in December, the town received our new colonial coach. It looks great, doesn't it? I think it looks great, right? Have you seen the new colonial coach? It's really cool. In addition to its striking design, the new bus features spacious seating, racks for shopping bags, and a camera system for security because, you know, some of those seniors. and it kneels to the curb, which was one of their most asked about features, that it goes down so they have an easier access to get on. It kneels to the curb to make it easier for our seniors to step in and step out of the bus. I've heard nothing but positive feedback from residents about our new bus and look forward to expanding ridership. In the coming weeks, new signs will be installed to mark the major bus stops to make it easier for riders to use. We also will be installing new bus shelters throughout the town this year. 2018, this is a long executive, so just bear with me, I'm almost near the end. We will also, okay?
It's interesting.
All right. Well, we also, so 2018 was a banner year for park improvements. Clayton Woods, for those who don't know where Clayton Woods, that's on Hillcrest, opened to a much fanfare and autumn rain. A ribbon cutting has been rescheduled for this spring. If you have time, go up Hillcrest and look what we've done with the abandoned house that was there for years. We named it Clayton Woods after the owners who we worked with to preserve the land and create a park for those residents up there. It's absolutely beautiful. So if you get a chance to take a ride by, it's Clayton Woods on Hillcrest. It's beautiful. This year, in addition to the work that continues at Granby and Caldwell, we expect to continue investing in our parks through improvements at Ledgerwood tennis courts, for those who play tennis there, and the development of a master plan for Burnham Park that will provide both aesthetic and engineering improvements while respecting the natural beauty of the park and the environmental impact of its many habitats located there. I think they'll be happy to hear that when they read this tomorrow. In addition to park improvements, the engineering division has been busy making infrastructure improvements throughout town, including the final stages of the MLK Streetscape project that will conclude this year and the last phase of Washington Streetscape, which is anticipated to be completed by the end of the year. They also have been working with the Shade Tree. Sandy from our Shade Tree is here, it's a great organization. The commission on the tree well rejuvenation project, which installs FlexiPave. Have you been downtown and see the FlexiPave around the tree wells? It's really good stuff in our downtown tree wells to make them healthier for trees and safer and more pleasant for pedestrians. This project won the Green Communities Achievement Award from New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. That's a good thing in 2018. And I thank the Shade Tree Commission for their work. Could you pass that on, please? Engineering is also in the midst of installing the pedestrian hawk beacon on Speedwell Avenue and Flagler Street intersection. This beacon, funded by a contribution by CVS as part of their redeveloper agreement, is an important tool towards reducing pedestrian crashes in this area. The beacon will be functional this spring. In addition to the beacon, the town continues to address traffic and pedestrian safety with NJDOT. We hosted the state commissioner for NJDOT and her senior staff in February of this year, where we discussed the state's important role as a partner with the town to improve traffic movement. She committed to me that they will provide technical and financial support to achieve our common goals. Towards the end, the state's traffic signal optimization project, based on the town's own traffic study from 2017, is already underway and should be completed this year. They have also awarded the town $200,000 for improvements to Lafayette Street for traffic calming and pedestrian improvements that will also increase the greenway on this road. Now, I want to stop there for a second, since Phil's here. I believe that award of $200,000 was only out of a grant of $1 million. So if you take all the transit areas in any town that has transit, and there's a lot, to get $200,000 out of a $1 million governor's grant says something for the town of Morristown. And we can't capture that kind of money if we don't have planners and the administration working together to make sure we put in for those grants and get them. So again, we want to thank Phil and Topology and the administration, Jillian, for making sure that all got done. And now we have $200,000 extra dollars for Lafayette. You see, the town has a lot planned for the coming year. As your mayor, I remain committed to making policy, fiscal choices that manage our limited resources while ensuring infrastructure and service delivery that supports a quality of life that is uniquely Morristown. I am excited about what's to come and thank all the town's employees for playing their part in making our vision a reality. But before I say my quote at the end, I want to take a few minutes out just to thank the council as a collective group. They're the legislative body of this town. They support projects that are good, and they tweak projects they think need to be better. They have own ideas, and we implement them, and they work really great together. And I want to thank them because it is a full government that works together, that makes things happen. And so I want to recognize the hard work they do. I also want to thank our legal department, which I do take a few minutes out, and Nardo Webster is here. Joni's not here. Joni's usually here. Nardo's has been with us for this is our 10th budget. Our director of law, Beach Boar, who really keeps the town on the straight and narrow, and really makes sure we don't have the big hiccups. And make sure things are done right. And the administration is very grateful for your leadership and for what you bring with your law genius. Of course, now somebody will say something about that, but no applause for the law genius. Frank, Frank Mason is our CFO. Now, every corporation, every business of the size of municipality government has to have a chief financial officer that is committed to the community, that is committed to our financial package, that is committed to basically making sure that we're solid. We do go back and forth sometimes, but we're very grateful that he came from us, from Montclair a few years ago, and that he's never leaving Morristown. So after I'm gone, he'll still be here. That's it. Then I want to just take the time to thank our business administrator, Jillian Barrett. When I tell you that next year's budget cycle will start in a couple of months, it really takes that long. And the reiterations of budgets and the meetings and how many times I strike lines and she adds and she takes away and Frank comes in and goes, thought we were introducing the budget 2 weeks ago, but we weren't there yet. And the amount of work that goes in before you guys get it is hours upon weeks, upon months of each department head, whether it's engineering, Anthony from engineering, where is he? I know he's in here. Whether it's police, whether it's fire, whether it's DPW, every agency has to come in with their budgets, and it's exhausting. But as you can see, when you get this budget, which I hope you introduce tonight, as you go through it and watch the presentation our business administrator has, you'll see the hard work that goes into play. Now, it's a little bit, I should have warned you, it's a little bit longer tonight than normal. So I don't usually do this, but I think it's important to show the community some real truths to what we're doing here, like I said, over the last decade. So if you look at this, and you'll see this online, and you'll see it on the website. So if you see these charts, this is the annual tax rate increase trend from 1997 to 2019. So if you go back and you look at 97, 11% increases. 10, 7, 5, 4. Now, I think I became a councilman around this area, where it's 5, 4, 6, then it's 6, and then it drops down a little bit, then it starts going back up, and it's like this. It's like this. So when you bought a house and your taxes were $6,000, and then 5 years later, 8 years later, 9 years, 12 years later, they're 10,000. That's the trend. You can see it. Here's where I took office. Right? My first year, I had to raise it 1.9% because we were $5 million in the hole. That's what we were left by the previous administration, $5 million in debt for municipal budgetary. So that either I raised taxes $5 million, you all know how that much is, because 1.9 is how much, Jillian? What's 1.9? 400 and something thousand? Okay, so now with 5 million equals, if you do it that way, and then take a look. We reduced it, we reduced it, we reduced it, 0, 0, we reduced it, 0, little bump and a little bump. And that's actual facts. That's how it works. So for 10 years, not for an election year, but for 10 years, we have been steady with how we run our government. And that's a lot to do with the council too, because they support the budgets that we bring. This is an interesting thing. This is the municipal levy trend. So of course it gets a little, when you're not into the business administrative stuff and the number stuff. So I started here, 2010, right? My tax levy, is this the tax levy? Yeah. Okay, it's a trend.